Technical difficulties. We're back here in the top of the second inning. Is an all-square game at 1. Al Perez now sits to the dish, and a 1-2 pitch is grounded foul. Scoreline changing with one out here. Sitting at second base is Jacob Sanchez. At first, Connor Clark. Clark able to drive in the game's tying run on an RBI single as he drove in Riley Bender with one away and pushing much pressure now on Teddy Jenkins, or Judkins, I should say, as that one's upstairs. 4-2, and even count 2 balls, 2 strikes. Back-to-back walks to begin this top of the second inning. And Seguin's one run coming off of an error committed by Victoria's second baseman Mario Mendoza Jr. as that one's upstairs for ball 3. Perez is in a very hot month of July, with 7 of his 10 RBIs this summer coming since the second half started on June 27th. It has been a collective offensive effort for Victoria. Payoff pitch is upstairs, ball 4. As the third walk of this inning, as now the bases will be loaded. Sanchez at third, Clark at second, who has the RBI in his back pocket. And Perez now at first. It will now be the bases loaded with only one out here in this second inning. An opportunity, a large one here for the man who committed the error in the bottom of the first, and Mario Mendoza, as mound meeting instituted here with Judkins, his backstop man, Vinny Samuel. It looks like his shortstop as well, Ryder Hernandez, giving Judkins time to breathe before Mendoza comes into the box. Mendoza so far this summer, the junior out of Pflugerville, Texas. Currently at Texas A&M Corpus Christi, the Islander, 11 games, 4 for 32 this summer. Mendoza Jr., 2 runs, a walk, and 10 strikeouts. High fly ball in a shallow right center. There to make the catch, it looks to be, as Rodriguez still in the dirt for round number 2. And a big one for Teddy Judkins indeed, as none of the runners advance. 2 away. Now the first pitch here to Anthony Avalos now awaits as we now flip to the top of the order, and it might be the perfect person that you want, if you're Michael Oros, to drive in runs here as your leadoff man and TCL MVP candidate. That one's upstairs for ball 1. Avalos coming into tonight, 6th in the league in batting average at .339. 38 hits, that is number 4 in the league. 26 runs as well, that's number 2 in the league. As that's a drive into right center. This could drop, and it's caught by the right fielder Perez to end the inning. Xavier Perez coming through in a big way in right field in his debut game with the Stars against his former team. And the Victoria Generals strand the bases loaded, but we are all squared at 1. We go bottom 2 on TCL TV. Stay with us. Here's the upcoming schedule for the Victoria Generals. You see the 4-game series with Seguin starting today, then a trip to Baton Rouge this weekend. That red highlighted date against Lake Charles in Southwest Louisiana is a game that was scheduled to happen last week, but is now being rescheduled due to the effects of Hurricane Beryl. And then, of course, home for Baton Rouge, and then a 4-game set with Brazos Valley. It's a high drive on the part of Xavier Arias to right center, but there to make the catch with ease is Connor Clark, and it will be an easy 1-pitch, 1-out for Kamar Dove in his second inning of work. Here in this bottom of the second inning, Hector Rodriguez now coming to the dish. The second baseman batting 7th tonight. Rodriguez with a well-known story here in the Seguin region. Rodriguez, almost a folk hero to many longtime Seguin Monsters fans. That one is fouled off the end of the bat. Appears for Rodriguez so far this summer in 6 games in this second half. So that one is inside, no call, 1 ball, no strikes. Looks like it appears to be a 2-0 count here, actually. A 2-0 count here on. So that one's in the inside half on the outside bottom corner of the zone for strike 1. 2-1's the count here. More importantly for Rodriguez, 6 games, 3 for 19, 4 runs scored, a double, 1 RBI, 4 walks, 4 strikeouts to the dish. As that one's outside, 3-1 the count. So that one's now grounded over to the second base side with an easy play as Mario Mendoza Jr., and that is 2 quick outs. Here in this second inning is the defense of Kamar Dove supporting him so far as we now go to Vinny Samuel, as Vinny Samuel will be coming to the dish here with 2 away. Samuel. The only other catcher besides him and Gabriel Rodriguez currently listed on the River Monsters roster, as that one's inside for ball 1. Samuel in 5 games, 3 for 18 with 2 runs scored, a home run and on an RBI. That 1 home run coming back on July 10th this past Friday against Brazos Valley. That game took place, in fact, here at Smokey Joe Williams, as that one is inside, 2 balls, no strikes. Dove still having a hard time with the command of the fastball so far through 2 innings, even though he was able to escape the first with only 1 run. So that one is low for ball 3. 3 balls, no strikes here. Once again, the fastball maintaining low below the knees, and Dove trying to get on that outside half to left-handed hitters. 3-0 is downstairs, ball 4, and once again, not getting the command of the fastball is Dove. And it's a 2-out base runner here for Seguin in the form of Vinny Samuel. And now Hunter Ham will not get the opportunity here. Ham, unusually someone who would be considered for a catching spot, but is the designated hitter tonight for Seguin. Ham, a freshman out of Acadiana Hill College. 15 games, batting .250, 11 hits. So that one's on the outside corner for strike 1. Ham also 4 runs scored, a double, 8 RBIs, 8 walks, 14 punch-outs. 3 for 7 in the month of July is Ham. The 0-1. Grounded to the right side, just foul. We'll do it again. He's now down the count 0-2, though, on 2 foul balls. On 1 the score line. The Generals able to tie up a 1-0 deficit thanks to an RBI single by Connor Clark in the second inning. There, 1 run from Seguin, as that's a pickoff throw by Dove. 1 run from Seguin, if you're just joining us, coming off of a error committed by Mario Mendoza Jr. at second base off a double steal by Patrick McClellan and Ryder Hernandez. McClellan was able to come home and score from second base. 0-2. Inside corner on the inside half, no call. Narrow one there. That could have been gone either way, but instead it will be called the ball, 1 ball, 2 strikes here for Ham. Ham, the 9-hole hitter, the top of the order sitting on deck, and Dakota Howard. 1-2. Ground ball over to the left side. Easy throw for Riley Bender in the short third base half, and we'll do it here in this bottom of the second inning. We go to the third, all still square at 1. Kamar Dove allowing a base runner and no more. We go to the third, all square at 1 on TCL TV with the Generals and River Monsters from Seguin. Welcome back here on TCL TV. This is our Did You Know presented by Whataburger. Soon-to-be Texas State Bobcat Travis Bragg had 2 incredible offensive seasons at Vernon College, where he had a combined .384 batting average, 136 hits, 43 doubles, 12 homers, and 103 runs driven in. In his last 7 games in a Generals uniform, however, Bragg has collected 6 of his 12 RBIs this summer. If you're just joining us here on TCL TV, we welcome you from Smokey Joe Williams Field. This is a Victoria Generals road presentation of Generals baseball, as the Generals begin a 4-game series with the Seguin River Monsters tonight, 2 here at Smokey Joe and 2 back at Riverside Stadium on Thursday and Friday. We sit at a 1-1 score. If you're just joining us, here's how we got there. In the bottom of the first inning, back-to-back walks of Patrick McClellan and Ryder Hernandez by Victoria Generals starter Kamar Dove brought home a run on the part of a double steal initiative by McClellan and Hernandez, and then a fielder's error on the part of second baseman of Victoria, Mario Mendoza Jr., bringing home the run in the form of McClellan to make it 1-0 Seguin. And then in the top of the second inning, after back-to-back runners walked to begin the top of the second half, an RBI single was initiated by Victoria Generals right fielder and superstar newcomer out of UT Tyler, Connor Clark, as now that's where we sit as we now begin this top of the third inning. And the Generals are back near the top of their order as it will be 2-3-4, and Damian Whitfield in the first pitch he sees grounded to the second base side. Hector Rodriguez is there, and it's an easy 4-3 to begin out this third inning in 1 quick out on 1 pitch here, as Teddy Judkins is the starter for Seguin tonight. Judkins, if you're just joining us, is a West Texas A&M right-hander, a sophomore, and a new addition to Texas, or West Texas A&M, I should say, the Buffaloes. Cameron Nickens now comes back to the dish. He hit a line drive single to begin his AB. That one's driven over to the right center gap, and a great snow cone catch by Xavier Perez in right field. Yes, if you're a Generals fan, that is a very familiar name to you. Xavier Perez, the former Victoria General from 2023, who had 3 home runs in a General uniform last summer, now wearing a Seguin uniform, and on the first pitch Cameron Nickens sees, he lines one into the deep right center gap, or deep right straightaway right gap, and Perez well out of position, able to make a snow cone catch near the wall, and it's 2 quick outs. Riley Bender now comes back to the dish. He walked and scored back in the second as the first pitch is on the outside corner for strike 1. Victoria coming into tonight 24-10 overall and 8-3 in the second half. Half game behind Brazos Valley in the second half standings, but already well secure in the postseason. They're still right now, as of today, the only team in the Texas Collegiate League that does not have, or the only team in the Texas Collegiate League with 20 or more wins. Brazos Valley knocking on the door with 19. They're looking to hopefully get a 20th tonight with a victory against the Baton Rouge Rouge at home. So that was on the outside corner for strike 2, and Riley Bender now calls for a timeout and wants a conversation with head coach Michael Oros, who's the third base coach tonight. And Bender wants to have a conversation what he's seeing right now from Judkins. Generals so far tonight, 1 run on 2 hits and 3 runners left on. Seguin so far tonight, 2 runners left on, 1 run on no hits. Also an error they benefited. So actually that's a Victoria error, I should mention, in that current box scores. The 1-2's a high fly ball down the line, shallow right, but that looks like it will leave the ballpark here at Smoky Joe, and it does. And it remains 1-2 here for Bender. And for a 1-2-3 inning here is Judkins in a 1-1 contest, trying to give his Seguin offense, which has been struggling in recent games, a chance to take the lead, but that one's upstairs for ball 2. Another contest going on across the league. Baton Rouge and Brazos Valley facing off in College Station. The King Cutters currently in Southwest Louisiana facing the Gumbo Gators for the next 2 nights. The battle of 337 being reignited once again tonight, and the Bombers continuing their homestand, hosting a Rougarou squad that contains the former head coaches of the Bombers from a season ago, including James Dillard, as that one's fouled back and it's the top of the roof, and we'll do it again. Payoff pitch here waiting for Bender. Great plate discipline in this AB. Seguin coming into tonight 11-23 in the record through 34 games. 5-7 in the second half, 4.5 back in the second half standings as Riley Bender crushes one to the left center gap, but there to make the catch, he's Patrick McClellan, and we go now to the bottom of the 3rd inning. Another 1-2-3 inning for Teddy Judkins as he is able to initiate a much more formal 1-2-3 than he did in the first. We go bottom 3, still in a 1-1 contest. The current Texas Collegiate League bracket as it sits today. As you see, Seguin on the outside looking in, and Victoria firmly ensconced in that #1 seed. Will most likely face the Bombers right now. Baton Rouge barely holding on to that second semifinal spot as of right now, with Acadiana still on the outside looking in. We go to the bottom of the 3rd inning here in Seguin, still all squared at 1. It will be the top of the order, 1-2-3 due up for the Vermonsters, in a 3rd inning of work for Kamar Dove in his first start in a General's uniform, as that one's upstairs for ball 1 to Dakota Howard, who is 0 for 1 with a line out to center. Howard wearing a untraditional number 9. He's normally number 24, but wearing a different uniform tonight, as that one is low and away for ball 2. If you're just joining us, Kamar Dove, these first 2 innings, a fair struggle so far when it comes to the base on balls. He's already walked 3 River Monsters tonight, leading to, of course, their 1 run, as that one's fouled down the left field line. Going after it is the 3rd baseman, Bender. It's in territory, but it's technically a dead ball, as that one goes foul near the golf cart. You may remember the last time the Victoria Generals were here, then Victoria Generals 3rd baseman Josh Arquette had a collision with the golf cart behind Seguin's dugout the last time we were here, and ended up him not only colliding with the golf cart without him knowing, but also falling into a pile of fire ants, forcing him to switch uniforms mid-game with relief pitcher Sam Simmons. Generals went on to win that game, of course, 18-2. That was the blowout victory on June 19th, as that one's upstairs for ball 3. 3-1 count here for Howard. But thankfully, Riley Bender in that instance able to notice the golf cart before letting the ball fall gracefully to the ground. 3-1's a line drive and a right, but there to basically make the catch is Clark, but he'll let it fall for a base hit. So it's a leadoff base runner in the form of Dakota Howard, and he will reach base to begin this bottom of the third inning. And the first base hit of the night given up by Dove now comes here to begin the third.
Now batting left fielder number 40, Patrick McClellan.
So Howard, the Van Alstyne, Texas native, and freshman who's looking to be in the portal right now as he's possibly leaving Oklahoma, where he redshirted this past spring, as that one's outside for ball one to Patrick McClellan. McClellan, of course, walking in his last AB and then scoring Seguin's only one run on an fielding error committed by Mario Mendoza Jr. at second base for Victoria. One out from Kamar. Upstairs for ball two. We have a scoring update across the Texas Collegiate League in just a moment, as a whole lot of action taking place across the league today. That one is on the outside corner for strike one. 2-1 here, the count for McClellan. No score in each of the either two contests. Acadiana and Lake Charles tied at 0 in the top of the third, and then the bottom of the third, no score between the Rougarou Bombers currently in Bryan College Station. 2-1, running is Howard. That's a ground ball over to Avalos. He'll only have a play at first, and that will be an easy one. But now going to third is McClellan, and he will be out at third base. Double play on the simple 6-3-5. And what instincts by Jacob Sanchez at first base. The Vaquero with a long distance throw, and it's 2 quick outs. What a play. Howard with base running aggressiveness, trying to challenge and go to third base. But a regretful decision indeed, as he is retired on the 3-5 fielder's choice. For route number 2, McClellan retired on the 6-3. But little did he know he would ground into a double play. So it is 2 quick outs. Well, update the score sheet here. 2 quick outs here now for Ryder Hernandez, who also has a walk on his ledger. Got all the way to second base, but didn't get farther than that. The shortstop Hernandez, and a newcomer to the Seguin roster. Out of Cedar Park, Texas, the incarnate word Cardinal, as that one's fouled down the line. 2-1 the count here for Hernandez. It's a junior at Incarnate Word. He batted .235 with 22 runs, 32 hits, 12 doubles, 2 triples, and a home run. And had a season-high 4 RBIs in a contest in April against Northwestern State, which, yes, is in fact a Texas school. One's on the outside corner, so the payoff pitch now awaits here. Dove a strike away from an unconventional 1-2-3 inning, but one he will certainly take with 5-6-7 in the Generals lineup due up. High fly ball foul, and that will leave the ballpark into the parking lot. Payoff pitch remains here for Hernandez. River Monsters a very big week this week, in the penultimate week of the regular season, knowing that they have very little room to work with for a path to the postseason. Payoffs upstairs for ball 4, and it's a 2-out base runner in the form of Ryder Hernandez, who now walks for the second time tonight on the high fastball that Dove lost control of. No one is currently in the Generals bullpen as we speak. There is an arm currently throwing, or at least halting throwing right now in Seguin's bullpen, so we could be seeing the end of Teddy Judkins' outing soon. Judkins allowing just one run on 2 hits, leaving 3 runners on through 3 innings of work against this Generals lineup. Through 3 innings, as that one's on the outside corner for strike 1 to David De Hoyos, who's 0 for 1 with a punch out against Dove. Dove going for the pickoff throw, and now stuck between first and second is Hernandez. He has nowhere to go, and it's out number 3. Atrocious base running for the Seguin River Monsters in this bottom of the third, as they have chances at third base, but have both runners stranded. We are through 3 innings. We're a third of the way home here in Seguin, and we are still squaring at 1. Victoria's offense back up when we come back here on TCL TV. stat here as we enter the top of the fourth inning. This is the big four. Anthony Avalos of UH, Damian Whitfield of UTRGV, Travis Bragg of Texas State, and Cameron Nickens of Austin P. You see the numbers right there, and the numbers do not lie, that these are probably the four best offensive hitters on one side in the entire Texas Collegiate League as a whole. We showed you the information about Travis Bragg's numbers. You can see the other ones. Whitfield, 7 walks in his last 3 games, and great months of July so far for both Avalos and Nickens, as all 4 of them look to be clear stalwarts. Bragg, of course, having the night off tonight, but certainly the big 4 in every sense of the word for this Generals offense as we now go to the top of the 4th inning as we'll update things here on our score sheet. Max Cepeda here from the press box here at Smokey Joe Williams Field here for the next 2 nights. We'll be on the call for all 4 contests of this 4-game series. 2 here Seguin tonight and tomorrow night, and then, of course, Thursday, Friday night back at Riverside Stadium in Riverside Park in Victorias. We 5, 6, 7 due up here in the top of the 4th inning. And Jacob Sanchez leading things off. He walked, got all the way to 3rd and couldn't score. New man on the mound for Seguin in the form of Luke Carroll, as that one's on the outside corner. For strike 1. Carroll, the graduate transfer out of Davis, California, 6'3", 200, was at Oklahoma in 2022, didn't play, and then transferred, so that one is low for ball 1, transferred to Northwest Florida State College, and threw just 2/3 of an inning and suffered Tommy John surgery, and then 2024 is now looking for a new school, and on April 28th was hitting anywhere between 88 and 90 miles an hour.
Thank you.
As that is
Nope.
currently 1 ball and 2 strikes. Is Sanchez now grounds this one foul, as that's going to be 1-2 the count here. One, 2 for Sanchez is way all the way to the backstop, as that one doesn't even touch home plate. And it's an even count, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Where's Gross? Oh. Yeah, it's gross. I don't know why they did that.
Payoff pitch now waiting here as that one's outside. Tooth now going to be a full count here on Sanchez. Victoria's offense, of course, coming into tonight, leading the league in much of the team offensive categories. Batting team .253 as a team, that's number 1 in the league. A .405 on base percentage as that one's grounded just to the 3rd base side. Should be a routine play for David DeHoyos at 3rd. Long distance throw, that one hops the first baseman in Arias, but he's able to make the routine play. And an at-bat that was going at least, looked at least in the favor of Jacob Sanchez, will not no longer, as that will be 1 quick out here to begin this 4th inning. So Sanchez now 0 for 1 on the night with the walk, and now Evan Aslaxon, who was punched out by the starter Teddy Judkins, now we're going to have in with a new pitcher now. We've been told as this one is first pitch awaiting here from the left-hander to Aslaxon, tonight's designated hitter for Victoria, as that one's inside for strike 1. And mixed messaging, we have been told Will Gross is on the mound for Seguin, in fact. The junior out of El Paso and the Virginia Commonwealth University Ram out of ECU. 5'11", 180 is Gross. So that one's a line drive into right center field, and Laxon looks like he's not going to benefit off of it as that one stays in the air long enough for Xavier Perez, the former Victoria General and his former Texas State Bobcat, now UH Cougar, as that one's collected for out number 2 of this 4th inning. And Connor Clark will now come back to the dish. Clark 1 for 1 with that RBI single that has produced the only run of the night for Victoria so far. And Clark, the freshman out of Sherman, the UT Tyler Patriot, who was the UT Tyler Male Athlete of the Year. So that one's outside for ball 1 here to Clark. 6 games, 3 for 18 is Clark coming into tonight with 4 runs scored, a double, 5 RBIs, or 5 walks, I should say. My apologies. He hasn't collected an RBI yet until tonight. 4 strikeouts and a stolen base. He was 3 for 7 with 3 walks and a stolen bag in the series against Lake Charles. Outside half, it appears to be 3 balls and no strikes here for Clark. Well, Gross struggling on that left side of the rubber. The southpaw, 2-0, or 3-0 I should say, and that one's right down Main Street for strike 1. So 3-1's in fact the count here. So that one will now just be fouled back to the screen, and it's a payoff pitch now awaiting, looking for a 1-2-3 inning here is Gross. Sanchez grounding out as Laxon flying out to right. Wind blowing in. The sun now begins to set here as we are about to cross the 8 o'clock hour. In a game that we started just before 7:05. 2-2, 3-2s upstairs, 4-4. So that will be a payoff pitch walk. And a 2-out base runner now here for Victoria in the form of the speedy Connor Clark. And this is a man that you do not want to have walking around the base pads if you're Seguin. Someone, as we mentioned, already has a stolen base on his books through 6 games in a General's uniform and could very well have more. He, of course, you may remember in the 13-5 victory for Victoria back on Saturday, was able to collect 2 bases on a walk as Lake Charles's catcher was being unattentive. And Clark, with his speed, able to get to second base in a game that was already out of hand when he made the move. 0-1 is the count here for Al Perez, the backstop tonight for Victoria, who's already walked tonight, the UH Victoria Jaguar. 0-1's a check swing. He went around for strike 2. As a big strike 2 is now sitting a strike away from getting out of the jam is Gross. Trying to be a long reliever here in the 4th. With tonight's starter, Teddy Jenkins only able to go 3 innings. Running on the 0-2 as that one's inside for ball 1. Will be an easy stolen base for Clark. His second in his last 3 games, and he once again proving of his speed is Clark. As he now sits in scoring position on a 1-2 count, and a favorable chance here for Perez to drive in yet another run in July. Perez, 9 of his 10 RBIs coming since June 28th. 3 for 4 last night with 3 ribbies of his own on Sunday. 1-2. One is inside here, and once again, the fastball losing control is Gross. Trying to get it on that inside half. Sitting at second base is Clark. Perez looking to drive in. Wide open hole on the right side of the infield for Perez with a shift on. 2-2. Low and in the dirt as staying in front of it is Vinny Samuel. He's able to keep it in front of him as the payoff pitch now waits here for Perez. You would imagine that with Clark's speed, any ball in the outfield, Connor will be sent home as he will look to drive in the game's first run and collect Victoria's go-ahead second run as that one is low. 4-4 going to third is Clark at third base, and it's not in time. Clark able to get it in time. Once again, Connor Clark's speed coming through as now will be runners at the corners with 2 away. The 9-hole hitter Mario Mendoza Jr. coming to the dish.
Now batting number 14, Mario Mendoza Jr.
A big opportunity here as it will be now runners at the corners. Clark with a bold task running on the payoff pitch to Perez. With 2 outs, you might as well run, and ended up working out in his favor. Close throw on the part of Samuel, though, behind the plate as the first throw to Mario Mendoza Jr. is on the outside corner. 4 strike 1 at the knees. So both Clark and Perez, both given free passes. Only 2 hits on the night so far for Victoria. 0-1, running is Perez, and now he's stuck, and now a runner's going to be coming home, and that will be a safe runner. And he's going to be safe at first base is Hal Perez. 1 base running for the Victoria Generals as Connor Clark able to come home to score as Hal Perez acting as a decoy at first base and able to do so with ease as the speedy Connor Clark comes home and Victoria gets its first lead of the night. It's 2-1. What strategy from Michael Oros' squad, bringing the sneakiness to Seguin on this Tuesday night. As Mario Mendoza fouls this one away. It is 0-2. So the runner at third and Clark comes home on what is probably going to be ruled a stolen base, most likely, as he technically is going to be counted as stealing home, as it was at least a steal attempt, if you want to call it a steal attempt, on the part of Hal Perez. As Mendoza fouls it back, it remains 0-2. But Clark technically stealing home. It's his third stolen base of the summer and his second tonight. Perez remains at first base in an 0-2 count for Mendoza. That one's lined down the left field line, just foul. Mendoza just a second ahead of the fastball away from Gross. He will have to send back into the box. It remains 0-2. Perez was already nearing second base. But what a last two half innings. If you're just joining us, Seguin had disastrous base running in the bottom of the third inning, where they had two chances to get a runner 90 feet away, but couldn't, and had 2-1 6-3-5 double play, and then a pickoff attempt to end the inning. And now Victoria with a near potential pickle, but in fact it was a decoy. And it led to the Generals able to seize the lead as Michael Oros, with his genius, decided to say, you know what, we know who the faster runner is amongst Clark and Perez. We'll have Perez be a decoy and Clark able to throw off Seguin's defense. And they do just that, and Victoria's in front. 1-2, upstairs. Mendoza Jr., we mentioned, is at a very struggling summer. 4 for 33 counting tonight's stats. But has been able to be productive in other ways. He has found a way to be a defensive impact, even with his error resulting in Seguin's only run. 2-2. Line drive to left. This could stay fair, and it just hooks foul, it appears. Or no, there's no call. It's actually called fair. Hal Perez is rounding third. He's coming home. The ball goes all the way to the wall. And it looks like it's a late call from the home plate umpire. And it looks like they're going to call it foul at the very last minute. My goodness. The home plate umpire just recognized that the ball was foul. And Hal Perez, who rounds all the way around the diamond, is now getting a mouthful from the Victoria fans who traveled to Smokey Joe Williams, and Mario Mendoza has to go back to the batter's box. My goodness, and Hal Perez is devastated. He's on his knees over at first base. He can't believe it. Now, in fairness to him, you probably couldn't see it on your live feed here on TCL TV. The ball appeared to be foul down the left field line. It wasn't called foul originally. Both runners were able to run around the bases as far as possible. And Perez, as he's literally feet away from home plate, the home plate umpire finally throws up in his hands and says, dead ball. Unbelievable. 2-2 from Will Gross. Ground ball through the left field side, and will get through for a base hit. So Hal Perez will go from first to potentially home plate to now second base. And it's a 2-out single for Mario Mendoza Jr., and it's 2 runners on. What a momentum shift. A chaotic last couple of half innings at Smokey Joe Williams Field. From poor base running to strategic base running to late foul ball calls, we've had everything and then some. And we're only at the top of the fourth, folks. Anthony Avalos now comes back to the dish. We're back to the top of the order for the Generals. Avalos tonight 0 for 2 with a pop out and line out. Already down the count from strike one from Gross. Gross working quickly, both runners advancing, and there will be no throw. A double steal from Perez and from Perez and Mario Mendoza Jr. As it will be 2 runners in scoring position, and the Generals dugout loves it. You can see Perez, his jersey in the 4th inning, already looks like it needs to go to the cleaners. 1-1 to Avalos is foul just down the left field line and into the Seguin dugout. And once again, Gross sits a strike away from getting out of the jam. Seguin has 4, 5, 6, heart of their order. Due up bottom 4. Would love to have their offense due up in what would be a 1-run deficit. 1-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Gross gets out of the jam and leaves 2 runners in scoring position. But some strategic base running give the Generals their first lead of the night. We go bottom 4. It is 2-1. We have had some chaos here in Seguin. You are gonna want to stick around for the rest of this one, folks. We'll be right back on TCL TV. Here in Seguin for the bottom of the fourth inning as the first pitch from David De Hoyos from Kumar Dove is fouled down the left field line for strike one. The Generals now seizing a 2-1 lead here in this one off of a stealing of home from Connor Clark, who has had his fingerprints all over this game. Clark with 2 stolen bases, a run scored, and an RBI single in 2 plate appearances. And now giving Kumar Dove his first lead of the night. 1-1's a swing and a miss from De Hoyos, and that's down and right below the zone and into the dirt. 1 ball and 2 strikes. De Hoyos tonight at third base tonight for Seguin is 0 for 1 with a punch out already against Dove. The 1-2. Outside half, and it gets away from Perez to the backstop, and it's an even count, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Scoring update across the Texas Collegiate League as we sit currently right now. At 8:09 local time, Lake Charles with an early 2-0 lead in the top of the fourth. In Southwest Louisiana against Acadiana, and a 1-0 road lead for Baton Rouge. In Bryan College Station against the Brazos Valley Bombers. Bombers looking to extend their winning streak to 7 games tonight. Baton Rouge looking to get an end to that winning streak as the payoff pitch to De Hoyos is into shallow right. Over there is the first baseman Sanchez, and making the catch over the shoulder in foul territory. Sanchez doing so on the soft fly ball, and that's 1 out here in this bottom of the fourth. So now Xavier Perez going to get a chance to come up here. For just joining us, Xavier Perez, that name, if you're a Victoria Generals fan, is familiar for a reason, because it is a superstar player from last year's Texas Collegiate League returning, but this time wearing a different uniform. Perez in his first night wearing the Seguin green and blue, as that one's outside for ball 1 to Perez. Perez, you may remember, in 18 games at .317 the batting average for Victoria, including leading the team in home runs with 3. Second in the league in the category behind Brazos Valley's Simon Laranaga. Is that one? He's just fouled down the left field line. 1 ball, 1 strike here for Perez, who's also 0 for 1 tonight with a strikeout. Seguin, as we mentioned, 11-23 coming into tonight. 13 games behind Victoria and 13 games back of as it is the matchup perennially between the best and worst records in this league, as that one's to the backstop, 2 balls, 1 strike. His new ball's now coming into the home plate umpire. More importantly, for the River Monsters, this week is very, very important. If they could very well be eliminated from postseason contention by week's end, they know they just need wins. Obviously, they're going to need help from both Victoria and Brazos Valley to get into the postseason, but it starts with these 4 games against the Generals, as that one's lined into center field and will drop for a base hit. So it is a 1-out base runner in the form of Perez as he reaches base for the first time as a Seguin River Monster. A big opportunity here for Xavier Arias as he now comes back to the dish. Arias, who now comes in with a runner on at first as the double play is in order to end the inning. If you're Victoria, Arias 0 for 1 on the night with a fly out to right. So far in his second season here in Seguin for Xavier Arias, the La Vernia, Texas native, 19 miles south of Seguin, so very much a local product in every sense of the word. The first pitch to Arias is low and in the dirt. Hal Perez with a great job staying in front. 1 ball, no strikes. Arias, the junior out of Texas Lutheran, 12 games this summer, 8 for 36 with 5 runs scored, 2 doubles, 3 RBIs, 3 stolen bases, 6 walks, 6 punch-outs, and 3 arrows in the field for Arias. The 1-0, swing and a miss for strike 1. Last summer, in the title run for Seguin, Arias was able to collect an average of 289 in 37 games with 41 hits, 22 runs, 6 doubles, and 18 runs driven in. And went 2 for 8 in the TCL postseason. So that one is on the outside corner for strike 2, including a notable 1 for 4 performance with a run scored. Arias scoring the go-ahead run for Seguin in the TCL championship against Brazos Valley on August 5th. 11 months ago, nearly 1 year ago to the day. It was a pickoff throw thrown over to first in Perez, but he gets back safely. Arias down the count, 1-2. Dove looking to complete 4 innings in this start. A very impressive one for a non-traditional starter. 1-2. Ground ball over to left. That will get through and drop between the 5-6 hole. And that will be back-to-back base hits here for the River Monsters as they are able to get 2 runners on with only 1 away, and an opportunity now for Hector Rodriguez, another former Seguin River Monster from last year's title run. Rodriguez 0 for 1 on the night with a ground out to second base. That came back in the second. And now with an opportunity here to drive in a runner. First pitch to Hector is on the inside half for strike 1. Rodriguez, a utility player so far for Seguin this summer, batting .158 and 3 for 19. It's 1 for his 2 for his last 11 coming into tonight. Well, one's a high fly ball in foul territory. Bender will just launch it fly as it looks like that one will into the yard, and it will just into the seated section down the third base line and just next to Seguin's dugout. And down the count, 2 strikes now is Rodriguez. Had a great second half alongside Arias to lead Seguin to a TCL title. Oh-2 from Dove, upstairs. This 4-game series really going to test the stamina and strength of this Generals side. It is the first of 13 consecutive days of baseball for the Generals to conclude the regular season, with 6 games this week and then 7 next week, as they will play on Monday on what would be a traditional league off day, but the Gumbo Gators and Generals will be playing in Southwest Louisiana to resume a game that was supposed to be played on July 9th but didn't, as the Gumbo Gators were looking out for the Generals before the arrival of Hurricane Beryl 2 weeks ago. Well, last week, I should say. Feels like 2 weeks ago, but it's gone by so fast. Rodriguez still down the count, 1-2 after the quick mound meeting between Dove and Perez. Here's the 1-2. Grounded just foul and just behind the on-deck circle as Vinny Samuel had to duck away from that foul ball, and we'll do it again. Xavier Perez at second, the former Victoria General sitting in second base and right field tonight for Seguin. Xavier Arias sitting at first. Back-to-back singles with one away here in the fourth. 1-2. Swing and a miss, strike three. Big out number two for Kamar Dove, his third strikeout of the night. And it is a massive out number two here in the fourth with Vinny Samuel coming back to the dish. For Samuel, he's already walked tonight against Dove. Didn't result in anything back in the second. He was stranded at first base. And a big strike number three here for Dove, who has had struggles with the strikeout pitch for much of this summer. As a relief arm, has had to rely on his defense much of the time, and certainly has tonight for the most part. First pitch to Samuel was a swing and a miss for strike one. High upstairs fastball that Samuel bites at. Samuel currently at Arkansas State. Red Wolves. A one to the left-handed Red Wolf is grounded into the second base side. There is Mario Mendoza Jr. Should be an easy play at first, and it is. And the sign is retired. Two runners left on for Seguin. And a productive inning of defensive allowed plays for Kamar Dove as he gets out of the jam. We go to the fifth. Still a 2-1 lead for Victoria as they try to hold things on here on the road here in the Guadalupe Valley. TCL TV, that is the standings across the Texas Collegiate League. Victoria sitting high and dry at 24-10, 8-3 in the second half, 5-7 in the second half of Seguin at 11-23, 3 games worse, or 2 games worse, I should say, than every other team in the TCL, sitting 2 games back of Acadiana for the league's worst record, and sitting 8 games back of Brazos Valley in the overall standings, and 4.5 games back when it comes to the second half standings, which more important probably for Seguin if they want a pathway to the postseason. We come here for the fifth. 2, 3, 4, heart of the order for Victoria due up in Whitfield, Nickens, and Bender, 2 members of the Big Four. 3 of the Big Four in the starting lineup tonight, batting 1, 2, 3 with Travis Bryant getting the night off tonight. He may be possibly put into this game as a pinch hitter, depending on what the scoreline has the rest of the way. Will Gross remains in this game in his second inning of relief work, as that one's outside for ball 1 to Whitfield, who is 0 for 2 on the night with a strikeout and ground out. Man who came into tonight 4th in the league in batting average at .342, as that one's a bunt attempt, but is across the zone for strike 1. Victoria, with this victory, would get a 5th consecutive victory after sweeping Baton Rouge on the road Thursday, Friday last week, and then a 2-game weekend sweep against Lake Charles. As they are winners of 5 of their last 6. That one's deep in the left center gap, and that will drop in straightaway left. Whitfield with his speed advancing to second base. It's a leadoff 2-backer for the UTRGV Vaqueros. He chugs along that train and easily gets into second base to lead off the fifth. What a great swing off the bat for Damian Whitfield, who continues to prove his greatness in his second season in a Generals uniform. It was a huge part of his speed last summer, but already this summer, in his first full summer as Victoria, he was a second-half player last summer, but now as a full summer player this season in 2024, he has played every bit like it and is leading in so many categories coming into tonight. As now Cameron Nickens will hit on the first pitch, a high drive to right center that could drop, but making the catch is the right fielder Xavier Perez. He was so far into right center that Whitfield couldn't advance to third, and it was a smart call indeed. So Nickens once again with a fly ball to right. Second straight time he's done that. And it's out number one here for Will Gross, and a big one indeed on one pitch. So now Riley Bender comes back to the dish, who is 0 for 1 on the night with a fly out to left. But walked and came around to score Victoria's first run of the night back in the second on the RBI single from Connor Clark. First pitch. Grounded just foul and into the inside ankle of Bender as he has to now shake it off. Bender's certainly in a bind up here. He's one of probably the 6 best players on Victoria's roster when it comes to offense. And something you do not need if you're Michael Oros this late in the season, having one of your stars being hurt like this, the Kingwood native and junior currently at Mary Hardin Baylor. Well, one awaits here from Gross with Whitfield leading off second. And that's just below in the dirt, 1-1. Some intriguing matchups over the course of this week. In the penultimate week of the regular season for the TCL. As the 2 final semifinal spots have yet to be clinched. Brazos Valley and Baton Rouge currently in possession of those spots. The 1-1 is a inside swing and a miss, but it's not going to be ruled a swing as it was a check swing on the part of Bender. He didn't bring the bat across the plate. So it will be an inside ball 2 here for Bender. Jacob Sanchez currently sitting on deck for Victoria. If Bender's able to reach or not. Light starting to come on here at Smokey Joe. Running on the 2-1 is Whitfield. There will be no throw, an easy stolen bag for Damian. Able to galley up himself on the ball 3 as that one was low to Riley Bender. So a 3-1 count. Bender a ball away from reaching base himself. But Whitfield easily able to collect stolen bag number 22 on the summer. Still number 4 in the league in the category. 3-1's upstairs, ball 4. And with the infield coming in on the 3-1 pitch, Bender doesn't even have to swing the bat. He will advance on 5 pitches. There will be runners now at the corners with only 1 out. If it is a good situation here for Seguin, because obviously the double play is in order. And a right-hander has been warming in the Seguin bullpen, so Tony Perez will now come in and check in on Gross. And this could be very well the end of his night, and it is. He places the ball in Perez's hands. And it's the end of the night for Will Gross. We'll tell you about the new man coming on the mound when we come back here for the River Monsters. Generals looking for a threat to give some insurance runs here in the 5th, up by 1. for the top of the fifth. Still runners at the corners with only one away, and the third different arm now for Seguin on the mound in the form of right-hander reliever Yuli Tovar. As Tovar, who is normally number 29, wearing number 6 tonight for the Stars. Former UTRGV Vaquero, who now resides at St. Edwards, the local San Antonio Junior College. Tovar, the native of the small town of Buda, Texas. And 2 appearances so far on the summer for Tovar, throwing just an inning and a third, no runs, no hits, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, and 4 batters faced. Against both Baton Rouge and Brazos Valley. The Brazos Valley situation coming back on Friday. Or actually on Wednesday, I should say. My apologies. On July 10th, as that one's a swing and a miss for strike 1 to Riley Bender. Double play is in order to end the inning if you're Seguin, but sitting at third base is Damian Whitfield, who doubled the lead off this fifth. And Riley Bender at first with a walk. Sangelos looking to drive in more runs. 0-1. Inside, nearly hits Jacob. It's 1-1. Sanchez, who came into tonight with 15 runs driven in. Top 10 in the league in the category. Has a home run, has 3 doubles already as well, and 25 hits. Came into tonight, number 13 in the league in batting average at 281. The UTRGV Vaquero. That one gets away from Samuel, and now coming home to score is the speedy Whitfield. Will be a close play. He's out at the plate. What a play from Vinny Samuel behind the dish. And he guns down Whitfield, and he knew he was out. Whitfield shaking his head. Riley Bender, though, able to steal second base on the double steal. Or at least he's able to advance on second on the wild pitch, I should say. So won't be a stolen base. It will be just simply a ball on the part. So it will be a 2-1 count here on Sanchez. Bender now advancing to second base, but more importantly, it's out number 2 on the board. As Whitfield is gunned down. Still an RBI chance for Sanchez to drive in Bender. What a play by Vinny Samuel, the recent signee for Seguin. Coming out of nowhere with a play on his knees, basically sitting crisscross applesauce on the grass, and a gunned down throw to Tovar, who just came into this game. Tovar now behind 3-1. Evan Aslaxon, the dangerous newcomer for Victoria, sitting on deck. After Whitfield gunned down. No room for error for Victoria now here in the fifth. 3-1. Fouled back, and there will be a payoff pitch awaiting. Sanchez 0 for 1 tonight, but walked back in the second all the way to third. Well, got all the way to third, but could not score. Whitfield gunned down on the simple 2-1 fielder's choice for that second out. The wild pitch throw. Payoff from Tovar. Low and below the knees, ball 4. Second walk of this inning by 2 different pitchers. And Sanchez will now reach base for the second time tonight on a free pass. And Evan Aslaxon, who's yet to reach base, is 0 for 2 with a strikeout and flyout. Now going to come to the dish as there now sits runners at first and second. So still back to the 2 runners on situation. But plays at nearly every base here for Seguin. They want to try to get out of this jam. Tovar yet to allow a run this summer. First pitch. Low and out the zone, low and at the knees for strike 1 to Aslaxon. The sophomore league city native out of Galveston College. 2 great seasons at Galco with the Whitecaps. At least 250 in both seasons. And a much better sophomore year, the 0-1. Swing and a miss, strike 2. Yuli Tovar coming in to replace Will Gross here in this 5th inning. As the 3rd different pitcher already for Seguin, and what could be a very active bullpen series for head coach Tony Perez. But you would think for Perez, you want to manage your load and not use all your bullpen at once. 0-2's just stayed alive as Aslaxon as he gets the end of the bat on the baseball, and he stays alive. Could have easily been strike 3, but Aslaxon staying alive there. Bender at second, Sanchez at first, both reaching base on free passes given by 2 different pitchers in Gross and Tovar. Still a wide open hole on that right side of the infield, a shift being played on Aslaxon. Runners getting big leads on the 0-2, but fouled back once again as Aslaxon being aggressive here in this AB, the sophomore from Galveston. Wind blowing in right to left. Tovar taking his time. He now has to come off the mound. Trying to get out of this jam. First pressure situation of this young summer for the St. Edwards right-hander. The 0-2. Grounded up the middle. Could be a play for the shortstop Hernandez. He'll throw to first, and that is just in time for out number 3. Hernandez going with a gamble at first base, but he had to make the throw in time, and he does. Getting out of the jam is Yuli Tovar, and we go bottom 5. We are halfway home at Smoky Joe. Victoria still with a narrow 2-1 lead here on TCL TV. Upcoming promotions here at Riverside Stadium, of course, Friday night, this coming Friday night, July 19th, free ticket night presented by our friends at Atzenhofer, and Strikeout Cancer Night with pink jerseys for the Victoria Generals on Saturday, July 27th, next Saturday, when the Brazos Valley Bombers are in town, presented by our friends at Citizens Medical Center and TISD.net. Go back here for the bottom of the 5th inning. We are beginning the second half of this one, folks. What has been a chaotic pitcher's duel, to say the least, with Seguin using 3 different arms, but allowing only 2 runs. You would think they would have one starter through in, but it's a bullpen day for Tony Perez's squad. As grinning there is Hunter Ham, but it will be a slow throw as Anthony Avalos able to get the easy ground out, and it's an easy 6-3 to begin this bottom of the 5th on 1 pitch, 1 out, with Kamar Dove remaining on the mound for Victoria. A spectacular start so far, his 1 run being allowed on an error committed by his second baseman, Mario Mendoza Jr., but since then he has been perfect. He has escaped many jams. Only 3 punch-outs on the night so far for Dove in 4 1/3. But has been able to wank out, or been able to escape many jams as we go back now to the top of the order. 9-1-2 was due up here in the bottom of the 5th. So Hunter Ham, after he's quickly retired, we go back to the top in Dakota Howard, who's ahead in the count. 1 ball, no strikes. And that one's also inside as well, 2-0. Give a scoring update across the league in a quick moment following this 2-0 pitch here from Dove. And that one gets away from Perez, 3-0. Lake Charles still with a 2-0 lead at home in Southwest Louisiana, Joe Miller Ballpark against Acadiana. And so far a 2-1 narrow lead on the road for Baton Rouge at Brazos Valley. That game's in the top of the 6th. So top 5 and top 6 are those 2 contests in order, and we are currently bottom 5. So all 3 contests throughout the Texas Collegiate League, as that one's called for strike 1. Fairly around the same place across the league as the 3-1 is lined into right for a base hit. And another base hit on the night for Dakota Howard. He's 2 for 3. His last time reaching base back in the 3rd, he was tagged down at 3rd base due to aggressive base running. Decisions on his part. So Howard reaching base here with 1 away. Double play in force, or in order here for Victoria if they can get it, with Patrick McClellan now coming back to the dish. McClellan grounding into a pseudo 6-3-5 double play. The last time He was back at the dish back in the third. That one's outside for ball one to McClellan. Mentioned his story already tonight, the Seguin left fielder. Fairly unique one indeed for someone who's been here in Seguin for all of this summer. A sophomore out of San Diego, as that one is on the outside corner, called for strike one. Even count here from Kamar. McClellan, a San Diego native, currently at Palomar College, a junior college 36 miles north of San Diego. Batting .225 in 32 games with the Stirs, a pickoff throw by Dove. 25 hits for McClellan, 20 runs, 4 doubles, 9 RBIs, 16 walks, 22 strikeouts. Also 9 stolen bases on the summer for McClellan. 6 foot 190 frame, the right-hander. Dove, the right-hander on the mound, ready to throw the 1-1. That's upstairs. Two teams in two very different positions coming into this one. And very much having to cooperate with a whole lot of stress as the season comes to a close. So that one's fell back for strike two. Of course, a momentous day throughout college baseball, as today was day 3 of the Major League Baseball draft. A few former TCL players getting drafted today who are now at major programs. Getting the call from major league clubs today, from rounds 9 through 20 being held in Arlington today. And then, of course, going on as we speak, not Texas Collegiate League, the Major League Baseball All-Star Game going on as we speak in Arlington at Globe Life Park, the home of the world champion Texas Rangers. So the 2-2 is a high fly ball foul. Jacob Sanchez, the first baseman, underneath it. He waits for it. He'll make the catch. Very simple out number 2, leaving Howard at first base to do nothing. So now Ryder Hernandez, who's walked twice, now going to come back to the dish. He stole second base back in the first, and then was cut down on a pickoff attempt back in the third. Dove waits for his first pitch, working on the center left side of the rubber. First one to Hernandez on the outside corner, strike one at the letters. Hernandez, the junior out of Cedar Park. His first 2 seasons of college baseball in San Marcos as a Bobcat for Texas State, but now at Incarnate Word. Outside half, strike one. Or strike two, I should say. My apologies. No balls, 2 strikes. Strike away from getting out of this jam is Dove. Going to finish the job here. A 1-2-3-4 inning. 0-2 way outside. Victoria with a win. They claim a 5th consecutive victory and a 6th in their last 7 games. They are 5-2 in the month of July. However, only 9-7 away from Riverside Stadium. 15-3 at home, 9-7 on the road. Meanwhile, for Seguin, with their 11-23 record, only 6-10 here at Smokey Joe. That one's grounded over to the shortstop side. Avalos is a slow roller. He'll have to gun it to first base, and he does. With ease, the UH Cougar infielder taking care of business to end this 5th inning. So once again, Kamar Dove stranding a base runner, and the Seguin offense quiet for now, as they remain down 1 to the Victoria Generals on the road. We go to the 6th here on TCL TV in a close one on this Tuesday night.
Gather around this table, boys. Bring no shame, I'll lose my voice. Screaming at the gods about the bad we've done. Merle said, Mommy tried, but the prison still won. Your transgressions are mine as well. Anger rose in bones you could not tell. I'll find comfort and hope in you. Lord, forgive us, my boys and men. We're having an all-night revival.
Once again, this is our Did You Know presented by Whataburger, soon to be Texas State Bobcat Travis Bragg. 2 great seasons, as you can see, in Vernon College, now transferring to the Bobcats in a major Division I program in the Sun Belt Conference. In his last 7 games here in Victoria, 6 of his 12 RBIs driven in. Bragg not in the lineup tonight if you're just joining us, but certainly a great Did You Know fact for all you Generals fans out there as we begin this 6th inning. For the Generals, it will be the bottom third of the order. Connor Clark, Hal Perez, and Mario Mendoza Jr. due up for the first full inning of relief work for Yuli Tovar. The right-hander out of St. Edwards back on the mound in the 3rd different arm of the night for the River Monsters. His first pitch to Connor Clark, whose fingerprints have been all over this game, as that one's a swing and a miss for strike 1. In the 2nd inning, Clark drove in the game's first run for Victoria on an RBI single to tie the game at then 1, and then scored the go-ahead run for Victoria on a stealing of home in a great strategic base running effort by Michael Oros, as Clark was able to come home and steal home. First time Victoria, just the 2nd time this summer Victoria has stolen home, as they are now down in the count 0-2 in the form of Connor Clark. Tovar's 0-2 pitch, way outside. Great job by Vinny Samuel, still behind the dish for Seguin to make the play. Left-hander currently throwing at Victoria's bullpen, it's Trent Nickerson. Currently getting his first throws of the night, and what could be the end of the night for Kamar Dove after a great start of 5 innings of 1-run baseball. 1-2's on the outside corner, and it's rung up for strike 3. Caught looking was Connor Clark, and it's 1 quick out here in the 6th. First time he won't be reaching base tonight, the UT Tyler Patriot, as he is retired, and Hal Perez, who's reached base twice on 2 different free passes, now comes to the dish.
Now batting number 56, Hal Perez.
Perez walking both in the 2nd and 4th. He was able to steal 3rd base on a double steal effort back in the 4th as well. So that one is on the outside corner, called strike 1. The outer half from Tovar. So that one's now grounded over to the shortstop side. Hernandez on the first pitch, able to get one over on the 0-1 pitch to Perez. Getting quick shortstop grounded, and it's 2 quick outs here, top 6. And 2 great defensive plays allowed by his defense from Yuli Tovar. With the full box score in just a moment as we stand right now, with Mario Mendoza Jr. coming back to the dish, who's 1 for 2 with a single and stolen base. Tovar working much slower pace so far, trying to get the right call here. His first pitch to Mendoza, inside, no call, ball 1. So far as we stand right now, Victoria, 2 runs on 4 hits. 1 error and 7 runners left on base. Seguin with 1 run on 4 hits, no errors, and 5 runners left on. As we stand right now, as it is a 1-1 count here to Mendoza Jr. The 1 error coming from Mendoza back in the 1st that brought in Seguin's only run. At the knees for strike 2 to the Texas A&M Corpus Christi Islander. Originally coming into this season, there were 3 Islanders on the Generals roster, and now Mendoza is the only one left, as both of the Dove brothers, Kendall Dove, who left the Generals after the first half of the season, transferring to UTSA, and then Kamar Dove, who started tonight's contest, now at Prairie View A&M. 2-2, fouled back. So Mendoza, who is a true freshman, the only A&M Corpus Christi Islander left on Michael Oros' roster. 2-2 to Mendoza. Grounded, just foul. Is it bounce once fair and then foul? David Hoyos gave it a look, but he won't make a play as it stays 2-2. Tovar looking for a 1-2-3 inning with the bottom third of the General's order. 4, 5, 6 of Seguin's order due up bottom 6. 2-2's a soft high fly ball to left. Patrick McClellan sits underneath it. He'll wait for it. He'll make the catch. And a 1-2-3 inning for Yuli Tovar as he gets through now an inning and 2/3 of relief and no runs allowed. We go bottom 6, nearly 2/3 of the way home. Still a 2-1 narrow lead for the Generals on the road here in Seguin on TCL TV.
Makes us harder, better, faster, stronger. Work it harder, make it better, do it faster. Makes us stronger, more than ever. Hour after hour, work is never over. Work it harder, make it better, do it faster. Makes us stronger, more than ever. Hour after hour, work is never over. Work it harder, make it better, do it faster. Makes us stronger, more than ever. Hour after hour, work is never. Faster, stronger, work it harder, make it better, do it faster, makes us stronger, more than ever. After hour, work is never. Work it harder, make it better, do it faster, makes us stronger, more than ever. After hour, work is never. Work it harder, make it better, do it faster, makes us stronger, more than ever. After hour, work is never.
The upcoming schedule for the Generals, of course, the first of 4 begins tonight with the River Monsters, but then the back-to-back on the road to end the week in Baton Rouge, and then the gauntlet of 7 straight games. And it's the first of 13 beginning tonight for Victoria to conclude the regular season. As we now head bottom 6, new man on the mound for the Victoria Generals, it is Trent Nickerson. The junior out of Stephen F. Austin, the lumberjack out of Sumner, Texas, 6'4", 200. Made his Generals debut last Wednesday in the 4-3 loss to Lake Charles. Gave up 1 earned run on 3 innings relief. 2 walks and 1 strikeout and 10 batters faced. So Nickerson will be facing 4, 5, 6 of this order, relieving Kamar Dove. His 5 innings of 1 run, 4 hit baseball. Dove will be done for the night as that one's on the upstairs at the letters for strike 1 to David De Hoyos, who leads things off. As that one is called for upstairs, 1 ball, 1 strike. Only 4 batters came to the plate in the bottom of the 5th. Hunter Ham and Ryder Hernandez, who were the first and last batters of that bottom of the 5th, both grounding out to short. And then the pop out from Patrick McClellan and a single from Dakota Howard was all that occurred bottom 5. If you're just rejoining us, Max Cepeda here, bringing the Victoria Generals broadcast here from Seguin for the next 2 nights. And the first 2 of this 4-game stretch. 2 on the road, 2 home. As that is a swing and a miss for strike 3, and Trent Nickerson collecting a big punch out for round number 1. 1 batter faced and 1 punch out. As David De Hoyos goes down on strikes for the first out of this 6th inning. And now an opportunity for the former Victoria Generals Xavier Perez to do damage. He's 1 for 2 with a single, got to second base in the 4th, but couldn't advance farther. That one's grounded into the shift in the 5-6 hole for a base hit, and just like that, against his former team, in his first game back to the TCL wearing a different uniform, Xavier Perez, the former Texas State Bobcat, now soon to be UH Cougar, collecting his 2nd hit of the night, and now 2 for 3. So now the fellow Xavier, batting back-to-back, Xavier Arias is now coming back to the dish. Arias also 1 for 2 on the night with a single, also coming in the 4th. That's a high fly ball to center. Whitfield's there. He says he can't find it, but he refound the ball in the air, and he makes the catch for round number 2. Second, Whitfield wasn't able to see it in the Texas sky. Put his hands up, saying as if he wasn't going to be able to catch it, forcing the right fielder and Connor Clark to come all the way in. But on the first pitch, Arias is retired, and Hector Rodriguez now quickly comes to the dish. Just 7 pitches in this inning here for Nickerson. As the first pitch to Hector Rodriguez is on the outside half for ball one. Rodriguez, the Seguin veteran from a season ago in their TCL title run, 0 for 2 on the night with a ground out and strikeout. Inside, no call from the home plate umpire, 2-0. I was going to mention that it's kind of very interesting that Xavier Perez will be making his debut tonight. Just above in the order from Xavier Arias, as that's on the outside corner from strike one. You may remember if you were watching Generals baseball on Sunday night on TCL TV that we had two guys with the same first name also batting back-to-back in the Lake Charles order, Will Brassel and William Good. So that one's low for ball two and a close play at second base, but no play in time as that's an easy stolen base for Xavier Perez. He gets his first stolen bag of the young summer. 3-1 now the count here on Rodriguez. And Nickerson now put in a blender with a tying run sitting in scoring position. Easy to forget that. 3-1. Outside corner, no call. It is a close pitch indeed, but a walk 90 feet for Hector Rodriguez, who reaches base for the first time tonight. And now the 5 and 7 hitters for Seguin now sit on base. And it should be Vinny Samuel coming up to the dish. It is indeed. Samuel 0 for 1 on the night with a ground down back in the fourth. Also walked back in the second did Samuel. So he's now ahead in the count, 1 ball, no strikes. That one's upstairs, 2 balls, no strikes here to Samuel. Runners at first and second in the form of Perez and Rodriguez. Representing as the tying and go-ahead runs for the River Monsters here in the sixth. Trent Nickerson, his first inning of relief work, looking to shut the door. Inside calf, strike one. Nickerson with a fine debut where he allowed just 1 run in 3 innings of relief work against Lake Charles in a game that ended up being a loss for Victoria, their last scheduled loss back on Wednesday, as that one's low. And inside 3-1. Ball away is Nickerson from possibly having a bases loaded 2-out situation with Hunter Ham at the dish. And that is a big called strike 2, nearly an identical catch from the ball 4 that sent Vinny Samuel to on the base paths. But a big strike 2 call on that outside half. Looking to shut the door is Nickerson on a faster pace. The payoff. Grounded in a right that will get through for a base hit. Rounding third and coming home is Perez. The throw is heading to third, and it will be an easy out number 3 as Rodriguez is retired. But the run counts at the plate in the form of Xavier Perez, and we are all squared at 2, folks. A big RBI single for Vinny Samuel as he drives in his second run as a River Monster this summer. We are 2/3 of the way home. And a massive blown opportunity for Trent Nickerson to hold on to the lead. We go to the 7th, 2/3 of the way home on TCL TV. the current bracket as it sits today. Victoria currently well ensconced in that #1 seed. Seguin on the outside looking in with a much desperate schedule ahead, with 4 of their next 6 being against these Victoria Generals, as they now make a desperate claim to the postseason incoming. Welcome you back here to Smokey Joe Williams Field, as it is the bottom of the 6th incoming, or about top of the 7th, I should say. Top of the 7th incoming here from Seguin at Smokey Joe Williams Field, as it will be 1, 2, 3, top third of this order for Victoria, leading things off against Yuli Tovar in his second inning of relief work. There is a arm throwing a football right now in the Seguin bullpen to try to get warm. There's the 1-1 pitch to Avalos, his high fly ball to right. Underneath it is Xavier Perez. He should make the catch with ease, and he does battle with the lights of Smokey Joe and the Texas night sky as he's able to make the catch, and Avalos is retired. Fun fact, Anthony Avalos now tonight 0 for 4 on this Tuesday night. Popped down the first, lined out to right in the second, struck out in the fourth, and now has flied out to right here in the 7th. His 30-game on-base streak now in jeopardy as he has 4 plate appearances through on the night. And if the Generals are retired in order, the final 3 innings of play, may not get another chance at the dish depending on what happens the rest of the way. Damian Whitfield, though, 1 for 3 with a double back in the 5th. First pitch. Outside corner, strike 1. Generals in a trap series here with Seguin these next 4 days. Trying not to take advantage of an opponent that has struggled against them for much of this summer, as that's outside for ball 1. And trying to shut down a team in Seguin that could very well be eliminated from postseason contention if Victoria takes care of business over the next 4 nights. The 1-1, way outside. Meanwhile, for Seguin, we've mentioned it all night. They are in dire suicide watch. They know they cannot sacrifice any more games, and they know they will have very little help to get from the Generals and Bombers, considering how hot both of these 2 teams are. We showed you the standings earlier tonight. All 3 teams in the Louisiana division are at least 2 games under 500 in the second half. So the Bombers and Generals unequivocally have been the 2 best teams since June 27th. Only problem, they won't play in a championship round. They'll have to play in a semifinal round, as that's a called strike 2 on a check swing by Whitfield, and the payoff pitch now awaits. Generals with their 2 runs in the bottom of the first, Seguin, with their 2 runs in the 1st and 6th. Victoria's 2 runs in the 2nd and 4th. 3-1, 3-2 on the payoff pinch is low for ball 4. And it is a 1-out base runner here in the form of the dangerous and speedy Damian Whitfield, who nearly came across to score back in the 5th. Could have been much needed insurance for Victoria. But now will sit on base as a go-ahead run for the Generals. At first with a dangerous Cameron Nickens at the plate. Nickens 1 for 3 on the night with a single back in the 1st. Was caught at second base, though, on a fielder's choice where he tried to make a single into a double. It was caught out at second. First pitch on the outside half, strike 1. Louis Tovar, great command of his breaking ball so far in this relief outing. Only with 1 strikeout, utilizing his defense for the most part, as that one gets away. As the pickoff throw from Tovar got away from first baseman Xavier Arias. He realized it nearly a second and a half later. Whitfield's head wasn't even up from the first base bag. And even with Whitfield's speed, I probably would have stayed at first base myself, considering how the ball slowly rolled away from Arias at first base. Nickens is 0-1. Whitfield thinking of running with a big lead. He'll go back to first, though, as the catcher Vinny Samuel being threatened off, as that will be away. Should be a 1-1 count here on Nickens. Tovar taking his time as he has for much of his relief outing. Right-hander throwing in the Generals bullpen. Running on the 1-1 is Whitfield. Will be a close play, but not in time. The speed of Damian able to get there. That one was low in the dirt, so it will be appear to be a 2-1 count here on Damian. And for Whitfield, it will be his first stolen base of the ninth, but more importantly, his 20th of the summer, I believe. Or actually, no, not his 20th. And we'll check the official number here because I have it in front of me. It is 22nd. His 22nd stolen bag of the summer. 2-1 is fouled back by Nickens. The even count now sits here. Whitfield sitting in scoring position now with only one away. Double play out of the order for Seguin. They have to take advantage now. Nickens gets an inside fastball. That nearly had his light flash before his eyes, but Nickens will now take his time. He calls timeout with the home plate umpire as the payoff pitch awaits. Second straight payoff pitch now awaiting here. Runner sitting in second in the form of Damian Whitfield. Payoff pitch now coming here for Nickens. He's 1 for 3 on the night. The former UH Cougar, now Austin P. Governor. Payoff nearly hits Nickens, and it's ball 4. Would have been a hit by pitch and a free 90 feet regardless, but Nickens will take the ball 4 regardless, so he will not be injured as now Tony Perez will walk to the mound. No arms are currently throwing right now in the Seguin bullpen, but Tony Perez will have a conversation with Yuli Tovar, as it will be runners at first and second now with one away. And the double play back in order for Seguin. With Tovar walking each of the last two base runners now in Whitfield and Nickens. And the RBI machine and Riley Bender coming to the dish. You can see Bender on your screen over at first base. He's wearing number 9. You can probably barely see him on your screen right here. But you see that yellow square I'm highlighting right there. Bender having a conversation with Nickens over at first base, probably to just get some strategy on Yuli Tovar, as he's so far the only batter in this Generals lineup to not face Tovar tonight. Riley, as Jacob Sanchez was the first one to face him, and he sits on deck. Bender tonight has reached base twice on 2 walks. He scored back in the second. Also was a flyout back in the third. Whitfield at second, Nickens at first. Both given a free pass by Tovar. First pitch. Grounded to the right side and through for a base hit. Rounding third and coming home is Whitfield. Perez with the gun of an arm. The throw to the plate. Not in time. Victoria's in front. Generals are in front. No tag was applied by Vinny Samuel, as the home plate umpire has no call. Samuel didn't really even have an effort to tag Whitfield, as Whitfield touched home plate standing. So it's an RBI single for Riley Bender, the 23rd RBI of the summer. He now once again leads the league in the category, and it's 3-2, the good guys in front.
Now batting number 18, Jacob Sanchez.
What a run driven in and a clutch RBI from Riley Bender, coming through in a massive moment here in the 7th after Seguin tied it on their last breath in the 6th, and an immediate response from Victoria. Jacob Sanchez now back of the dish. First pitch. Line drive to right, but that will be an easy play for David Rodriguez. Over to second for 1. On a first, that's 2. 4-6-3 double play, inning over. So Sanchez grounds into the 4-6-3 double play to end the inning. But the damage done for Victoria on the RBI single by Riley Bender. We go to the 7th inning stretch. Stretch time here in Seguin. 3-2. Victoria back in front by 1.
Hey fans, it's the 7th inning. Let's get up and sing along for the 7th inning stretch.
here in Seguin. We go now to the bottom of the 7th as Victoria now leads 3-2 thanks to a go-ahead RBI single with one away from Riley Bender, who collects his 23rd RBI of the summer, putting him back in front of Bryce Calloway of the Acadiana Kingcutters, who he was tied with in the category coming into tonight. Now he's back in front in the RBI category with 23, giving the Generals a narrow 3-2 lead after Seguin tied it in the bottom of the 6th on a RBI single from Vinny Samuel. Now quickly tied back up by Riley Bender. We go bottom 7, 9-1-2 due up for Seguin as Hunter Ham fouls it down the right field line as it is called for strike 1. Against Hunter Ham. Hunter Ham 0 for 2 on the night with 2 groundouts, 1 to third, 1 to short. Bounce on the outside corner for strike 2s. Trent Nickerson remains on the mound for Victoria, even though he gave up the game-tying run. Faced 5 Seguin batters, had 2 singles and a walk that he gave up. That's a high fly ball to left center from Ham, but underneath it is Damian Whitfield in the deep left center gap. He awaits for it and makes the catch for the easy out number 1 here, bottom 7. So M now 0 for 3 on the night in the 9-hole. Now Dakota Howard, as we go back to the top of the order, comes back to the dish. Howard, one of 3 Seguin River Monsters tonight to reach base twice. Him and Xavier Perez are the only ones to reach on 2 hits, as he's 2 for 3 on the night, as that one's inside for strike 1 from Howard. On the great breaking ball by Nickerson, it appears the breaking ball command seems to be there, as that's another great inside 12-6 curve for strike 2. One out here in the bottom of the 7th. Victoria with up a 3-2 lead. There are 3 runs coming on an RBI single from Connor Clark in the 2nd. A stolen base by Connor Clark at home on a double steal effort back in the 4th. That was actually a decoy to give Victoria a 2-1 lead. Their first lead of the night, and then retaking the lead in the top of the 7th on the RBI single from Riley Bender. 1-2. Inside, high ball foul on the part of Howard, and we'll do it again at 1-2. We'll give a scoring update across the league in just a moment, as all 3 contests currently all sitting in the final third of their games, as that one's upstairs for ball 2, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Lake Charles with a narrow 2-1 lead, still at home against Acadiana in the bottom of the 6th. And Brazos Valley now taking their first lead of the night, as they are now up 3-2 as well. Similar scoreline in Brazos Valley, the home team in front of Baton Rouge, who's on the road in Bryan College Station. Bombers looking for a 7th consecutive victory tonight that would get them to 20 wins on the summer. Payoff. Line drive to left. This could drop fair, and it does, just to the right of the chalk. Could be 2 bases, but Howard will hold back. And it's a 1-out base runner in the form for Seguin. Howard has now reached base on a single in each of his last 3 plate appearances. He is 3 for 4. Howard, though, has not reached farther than second base. But on the payoff pitch, going the opposite way. Great situational hitting from Seguin's leadoff man. So now Patrick McClellan now comes back to the dish. McClellan 0 for 2 on the night, but walked and scored back in the 1st. He will show bunt on the first pitch, and a pickoff throw back to first, and he's out at first base! Dakota Howard with a massive lead on first, and he's gunned down by Hal Perez behind the dish, 2 away. The 2nd pickoff of the night from Seguin's base running, and a massive, massive play from Hal Perez, gunning down the speedy Howard at first. It's strike 1 at the plate right here for Patrick McClellan, but it's a big out number 2 on the pickoff throw as the runner at first is wiped off the board. It's now 2 strikes. 0-2 the count here on McClellan. Strike away from getting out of the jam is Nickerson. Outside corner, no call. Seguin's base running with its ups and downs throughout this night. 1-2's fouled down the right field line. Seguin has had so much trouble with the situational baseball much of this summer. They came into tonight with 8 more errors than every other team in the league. More pickoff attempts against them than anyone in the league, with 16, as that one's a cold strike 3 from Nickerson. A 1-2-3, bottom of the 7th, and the Generals hold on to a 1-run lead again. A pitcher's duel indeed here on the Guadalupe Valley. We go to the 8th. Victoria looking for some much-needed insurance. Can they get it? We'll find out when we come back on TCL TV. Stay with us. Back here for the top of the 8th inning, here from Smokey Joe Williams Field. This game has certainly been a highway, like the song mentions. As a new man is on the mound for the Seguin Monsters, it is Blaine Fritcher, the 4th different arm for the Stars tonight. The junior 6'5", 205, the tall one out of Lexington, Texas, currently at Shorter University, just 68 miles northwest of Atlanta in the small town of Rome, Georgia. But the Lexington, Texas native and Fritcher 0-0 with a 6.75 ERA in 6 appearances. 12 innings pitched, 14 hits, 9 walks, 11 strikeouts. His last outing, 1 inning of shutout relief and 3 straight punchouts against Brazos Valley here in this very ballpark in the doubleheader, and an 8-5 Seguin win. Or an 8-5 Seguin loss in the doubleheader back on Wednesday. That one's grounded, and that one hits Evan Aslaxon in the ankle. As Aslaxon on the first pitch fouls one into his ankle. And now we'll have to hobble off. It's Aslaxon's just 3rd game in a Generals uniform. It's 6-7-8 due up for Victoria in the 8th. And for someone as great as Aslaxon, as he shouts an expletive as he tries to return at least to the batter's box, head coach Michael Oros will go to check in on Aslaxon, but he is fighting off the pain. Looks like he fouled that one off of his inside left ankle. And he immediately reacted from the pain. It was a fastball coming from Fritcher. And now just having a conversation with Oros and taking advantage of the time is Benny Samuel and Fritcher, who now have a conversation just south of the mound. But it looks like Aslaxon will at least fight through it and stay in this game. And receives looks like a very small ovation from the Smokey Joe Williams crowd, but regardless of the fact, he will at least return to the box and try to hold back the pain he's probably feeling still right now. Down the count 0-1, it's Aslaxon, Clark, and Perez. Due up here on the top of the 8th. Aslaxon tonight is 0 for 3, and this could very well make him 0 for 4. It's a short fly ball to right center, and there to make the catch is the second baseman, Hector Rodriguez. who does so for the first out of the top of the 8th and had to come all the way from the second base bag to nearly catch it in shallow straightaway right. And it's a pop out for S. Laxon, who is now 0 for 4 on this Tuesday night. And Connor Clark will now return to the dish.
Batting number 1, Connor Clark.
Clark, who's had his fingerprints all over this game, the UT Tyler Patriot. RBI single in the second to give Victoria their first run. Stole home plate in the fourth to give Victoria a 2-1 lead. Then struck out in the 6th. Now facing the shorter University right-hander in Fretcher. That one's on the outside corner, strike one. Find it obviously funny that the 6'5", 205 Fretcher goes to a school that is literally called Shorter. Regardless of the fact he may be the tallest man in that Shorter program. No pun intended, the 0-1. Foul to the right side. Victoria, if they hold on to win this one, will be winners of 6 of their last 7. And will be 6-2 in the month of July. And 9-3 in the second half and 25-10 overall. Seguin trying to avoid going 2-7 in the month of July, and more importantly, a 4th straight loss, as that's a swing and a miss for strike 3. And a big out number 2 for Fretcher, as he retires now both hitters 6 and 7 in order. Now Perez now comes back to the dish. Perez so far tonight has walked twice, both in the 2nd and 4th. Also stole third base in the 4th, then grounded out back in the 6th, so he's technically 0 for 1, even though he has contributed in some way to tonight's contest. Fretcher on the center half of the rubber. No one warming in either pen. First pitch is low for strike 1 at the knees. Two teams are obviously separated by just an hour and a half. They're the two shortest distanced franchises, besides, of course, Acadia and Baton Rouge, who are only an hour and 15 minutes apart. Victoria and Seguin an hour and 40 minutes apart from ballpark to ballpark. So that one's low for ball 1. So because of that, Victoria's players will be going back and forth. They will probably, or not probably, they will be driving back to the Crossroads tonight before coming back to Seguin late tomorrow afternoon for tomorrow night's contest. Probably get back to Victoria sometime around 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning tomorrow, as that one's grounded foul by Perez down the line. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Perez, we mentioned, a great month of July and a great second half so far for the UH Victoria Jaguar. And the Puerto Rican native, 9 of his 10 RBIs this summer coming since June 27th. Fretcher looking for a 1-2-3 8th. The 0-2. Grounded foul again right at Seguin's dugout as it hits the fencing. And Michael Oros able to make the catch on the fly off the fence. It remains 1-2. Fretcher at Shorter University this past spring, 4-5 with a 4.81 ERA and 20 appearances, 24 walks, 27 punchouts. Line drive and a left. This should drop, and it does, and gets in front of the left fielder Patrick McClellan. It's a 2-out base runner for Victoria in the form of Hal Perez, and he keeps this 8th inning alive. Trying again an opportunity for Victoria to get some insurance before the 9th inning and before Seguin's offense can come back to the dish. So with 2 outs, Hal Perez reaches base. And now opens the door for the 9-hole hitter, Mario Mendoza Jr., who's 1 for 3 with a single and stolen bag in the 4th. First pitch to Mendoza is fouled off the end of the bat. So we mentioned the big storylines tonight. Bombers currently in front again at home against Baton Rouge, looking for a 7th straight victory. And Lake Charles looking to get back to their winning ways against a struggling King Cutter squad. 0-1. High fly ball to right. There to make the play is Perez. He's backing up on it. Now he's moving to his left. He makes the catch in the Texas sky, and that ends the 8th inning. So a single but nothing else for Blaine Fritcher in his 1 inning of work. We go bottom 8. Should be still Trent Nickerson on the mound. We'll see who it is when we come back here on TCL TV. Stay with us. Victoria's still up 1. celebrations here at Riverside Stadium. This coming weekend with a free ticket night presented by Ansenhofer and Strikeout Cancer Night next week, presented by our friends Citizens Medical Center and TISD.net. Pink uniforms that night on July 27th. We are back here now for the bottom of the 8th inning, as we'll update things here on the scoreboard here on TCL TV. Max Cepeda here with you with Generals Baseball on the road on this Tuesday night. First of 4 for the Generals and River Monsters, as that one's called for strike 1 for Trent Nickerson, who remains on the mound for the Generals, just the second arm of the night after 5 innings of starting baseball from Kamar Dove. 0-1's a high fly ball to left center. Whitfield and Nickens going back. Whitfield's there in left center field. They'll make the catch for out number 1. Great jump on the part of Whitfield, proving once again his great defensive prowess, and it's 1 away here in the 8th. So now David De Hoyos will now come back to the dish. De Hoyos 0 for 3 on the night with 2 punch-outs. Do a full box score update in just a moment. After De Hoyos takes this pitch from Nickerson, who sits a southpaw on that far left side of the rubber. First pitch upstairs, way out the neck head area of De Hoyos. 1-0 pitch. Generals 3 runs on 6 hits, and have left 10 runners on base, and 1 error as well. So 2 runs on 6 hits, 1 error, and 10 runners left on for Victoria. 2-0 is a high fly ball foul. It's 2-1 here for De Hoyos. River Monsters, on the other hand, 2 runs on 5 hits, or 2 runs on 6 hits. No errors, and have so far tonight left 6 runners on base. 2-1 gets away from Hal Perez behind the dish. 3-1 here to De Hoyos. Generals' biggest lead tonight has been 1. River Monsters' lead was only lasted in the bottom of the first inning as the Generals tied at top 2. And they have not given up the lead yet. The 3-1. Line drive down the left field line. Does that fair? No, it's foul. Home plate umpire calling it late that the ball went foul again. So that one just hit it just to the left of the white chalk. Was a tic-tac call. Could have gone either way. You obviously know in baseball that if it hits the chalk, it's fair. But it just hit it to the left according to the home plate umpire, and the payoff pitch now awaits here for De Hoyos. Infield playing straight back for Victoria. Wide open hole up the middle of the infield. Payoff. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Big out number 2 for Nickerson, as he's able to shut the door. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 8th. Opportunity for De Hoyos, as he nearly had an extra base hit on that foul ball, but quickly responds by shutting the door on De Hoyos, and the Generals are now 4 outs away. De Hoyos has now struck out 3 times tonight. Yeah, it's the second strikeout of this outing, or now the 3rd strikeout of the outing now for Nickerson. 6 in total for Generals pitching tonight. Outside ball 1 to Xavier Perez, the former Victoria General, who's 2 for 3 with a run scored and a stolen base. 2 singles in the 4th and 6th. 1-0's outside, just low of the zone, 2-0. Generals have been so close on the road, just 9-7 away from Riverside Stadium. Just one of 2 teams in this league to have a record above 500 away from their home ballpark. So that's a swing and a miss for strike 1, foul tip into the glove. Them and Brazos Valley, the only 2 teams to have a record above 500 away from home. 2-1. Swing and a foul tip, but fouled and out of the glove of Perez. And a strike away from getting out of the jam is strike away from a 1-2-3 is Nickerson. Top of the order, 1-2-3 for the Generals will be due up top 9. The storyline will be if Anthony Avalos, who leads off the 9th inning, can extend his on-base streak to 31 games, as he's reached base in every game he's played this summer. 2-2. Foul back. Seguin with a loss could fall to 11-24. 5-8 in the second half, and more importantly, 14 games back overall. And if Brazos Valley is able to hold on with a victory at home against Baton Rouge, that could be not so good signs for Seguin. They're up 3-2 currently in the bottom of the 8th in Brazos Valley, as that one's low for ball 3. Payoff pitch awaits. The gap could be 5 games for Seguin, or 5.5 games, I should say. 5.5 games for Seguin. If they fall back that far, and that means their postseason contention watch could be possibly out of reach very soon. They need wins and wins now. The 3-2. Ground ball to the third base side. Riley Bender's there. Should be a routine throw. Long distance there to make it in time to get the speedy Perez. 1-2-3, 8th inning for Trent Nickerson. A bounce back after a difficult 6 with 2 great reliefs in the 7th and 8th. We go to the 9th. Still a 3-2 Generals lead. Looking to get one last chance of insurance when we come back. Headed to the 9th here at Smokey Joe Williams Field. Max Cepeda, the voice of the Victoria Generals, here with you for Road Generals Baseball. You see, obviously, the schedule upcoming. 4 straight for against Seguin, 2 here at Smokey Joe, then 2 back at Riverside Stadium, and then 2 in Baton Rouge to end the week, and then the gauntlet of 7 straight games against 3 possibly potential playoff teams to end the regular season for Victoria. Top third of the order here due up in the 9th. Blaine Fritcher back on the mound for Seguin in this 9th inning. The wind blowing in strong. And Anthony Avalos due up. First pitch he sees is lined in the left for a base hit. Anthony Avalos extends his on-base streak to 31 games. One of the longest on-base streaks we have seen in TCL history continues. And after an 0-for-4 night on the first pitch he sees in the 9th, he gets a line drive fastball up the top of the zone. He knew it was coming, and he saw it before it even came out of Fritcher's arm. And Avalos' great streak continues. He is now 1-for-5. Yes, he hasn't contributed much tonight, but I bet for all the people in that dugout who are well aware of him talking about his streak, he's fairly happy right now, sitting at first with nobody out in the 9th for Damian Whitfield. Fritcher's first pitch. Whitfield shows bunt. It goes foul into the glove for strike 1. One of the few times you'll see a bunt attempt go off the bat and then into the glove of the catcher, but did so in that instance, so that is strike 1. Obviously, if it's done so successfully, it could result in an early out on an P2, if you will, if you would just put it in your scorebook if you're scoring at home. That's a pickoff throw from Fritcher to first, not in time. Torian 3 outs away from a road victory here in Seguin. Would be a 3rd consecutive road victory here at Smokey Joe. They're 4-1 in this ballpark this summer, or they're 3-1 already in this ballpark this summer. So the 1-0 is a long distance throw, but not in time. Avalos gonna get a chance to go to third. He's already stolen second. Throw to third will be close, but not in time. Avalos advances 2 bases and now sits 90 feet away, representing much needed insurance. As he now sits on a 1-1 count, he steals second base and now advances to third on the errant throw. An error made by Vinny Samuel. So Avalos, who singled to lead off this ninth inning, steals second base. And now advances to third on the E2 for those of you scoring at home. So Avalos sits 90 feet away on the 1-1 count here from Whitfield. First pitch is grounded into the shift. Avalos comes home. The throw comes home, and now he's stuck in a pickle. Avalos doesn't know where to go. Whitfield's going to second. Avalos is now coming home. Whitfield's now coming to third. There could be two runners at one base, but Whitfield now replaces Avalos at third. So Whitfield now sits at third base. He gets all the way to third. Avalos is out for out number one, but he is just quickly replaced by Damian with his speed, and there's now one out on the board. The base running of the Victoria Generals tonight has been nothing short of spectacular. Using the ground, they've learned the lessons from head coach Michael Oros, and they've taken advantage of it as Whitfield will probably get credit for the single, and he's probably going to get credit for advancing to third on just the back and forth fielder's choice. So he's going to basically advance there on defensive indifference, basically. And Nickens now will have a check swing. Did he go around? No, he did not. First pitch is a ball for ball one here to Cameron. Insurance run sitting 90 feet away. Generals just looking to double their lead, which has been at one all night. All night, I should say. One out to Cameron. Outside corner, strike one. Slider on the outside half from Fritcher. Arm warming in the Generals bullpen. It's closer Zach Ryan, who's got 4 saves on the summer, currently warming in the Generals pen for possibly the bottom of the ninth. Infield still in for Seguin. The 1-1. Low and just below the knees, ball two. So Avalos and Whitfield both singling here in the ninth. Avalos could not score on the fielder's choice as he was tagged out by the catcher on the fielder's choice, but Whitfield advancing to the second and third on the defensive back and forth from Seguin as the 2-1 hits the outside corner for strike two. Seguin has held the door on the Generals offense when it comes to getting that extra insurance. Victoria knows they just need at least one to at least have some sort of comfort in the bottom of the ninth. You're taking his time on the 2-2. Here it comes. Grounded just foul. Nickens nearly hitting his own left foot, but he dodges that foul ball. We remain at 2-2. Infield remains in for Seguin. Nearly all of their fielders having their toes on the infield grass. Wind still blowing in at Smokey Joe. The 2-2 again. Outside slider there that was trying to get a chase from Fritcher. And the payoff pitch now awaits here. The Lexington, Texas native, currently at Shorter University, the junior, facing the Austin P transfer who committed last week. Nickens looking to get an opportunity and get insurance. Payoff. Outside corner, strike three. Just getting the inside fastball to go is Fritcher. Nickens frustrated with himself as he walks back to the dugout. It's a massive out number two for the River Monsters. The insurance run still sitting 90 feet away in the form of Whitfield.
Now batting number 9, Riley.
As now Riley Bender comes back to the dish. Bender. 1 for 2 on the night, has walked twice, has an RBI single that gave Victoria back the lead in the 7th, which is so far the decisive run. That's a high fly ball to center. Going back is Howard. He's underneath it. He'll make the catch. We go bottom 9. Holding the door is Blaine Fritcher with 2 shutout relief innings in the 8th and 9th. We go bottom 9. Victoria's closer, Zach Ryan, coming up. We'll tell you his stats and numbers when we come back. Victoria 3 outs away from a massive road victory. Back here for the bottom of the ninth. This is the standings as it sits right now. Victoria looking for a 25th victory and a 9th victory in the second half. Seguin, if they cannot come back, will fall to 11-24 and 5-7 or 5-8, I should say, in the second half and 14 games back overall. Zach Ryan looking to close the door and claim another save for the Victoria Generals tonight as he comes on the mound here for the bottom of the ninth inning. Some numbers here on Ryan coming into tonight. Ryan has had a spectacular season as the pseudo closer in closeout situations for Victoria this summer. 1-1 with a 2.51 ERA and 11 appearances, 4 saves, 14 1/3 innings pitched, 6 hits, 7 walks, 12 punchouts for Ryan. His last save outing coming back on June 13th in this very ballpark against Seguin in what was a 4-3 victory. His last time on the mound being 3 nights ago on Thursday night, where he pitched 2 innings of relief to end the game against Baton Rouge. It was a 9-3 win for Victoria. 6, 7, 8 will be due up for Seguin. Bottom 9, Xavier Arias, Hector Rodriguez, and Vinny Samuel. First pitch is grounded over to Anthony Avalos, and it should be 1 pitch, 1 out here, bottom 9. Easy routine ground ball as Avalos, who extended his on-base streak to 31 games with a single in the top of the ninth, able to get that 1 pitch, 1 out, and now Hector Rodriguez comes back to the dish, who is 0 for 2 with a walk back in the 6th.
Hector Rodriguez.
Ryan has done so well when it comes to relying on the punch-outs. He's become much more of a power pitcher this summer, and it's been very much his identity throughout his college career as a Houston Christian Husky. As that one is outside for ball 1 from Ryan to the left-handed hitting Rodriguez. 1-0 is fouled back, and that one will leave the ballpark in the parking lot 1-1. Give you a scoring update across the league when we have a moment, as obviously the scores right now are all nearing their end. We have one final score to report to you in just a moment, as the 1-1 has now been delivered. Brazos Valley pulling off the victory 3-2 the final in Brazos Valley. They defeat Baton Rouge and now claim their 20th victory of the summer, which means if Seguin loses this game, they will be 5.5 back in the second half standings. And the number for their postseason chances go down. That's grounded to Avalos again, and will be 2 quick outs here in the 9th. Anthony Avalos coming through in big ways, as he always does defensively, and Victoria sends it out away. Vinny Samuel, the final hope for the Stars. He's reached base twice, is 1 for 2 with an RBI single back in the 6th. Brazos Valley with the win. They get to 20-15 on the summer. Baton Rouge falls to 17-18. Meanwhile, in Southwest Louisiana, it's a 2-2 ball game between Lake Charles and Acadiana, as the Cane Cutters were able to tie that ball game. That's a swing and a miss for strike 1 from Samuel. Victoria looking to be happy campers to head back to the Crossroads tonight with a game 1 victory in this 4-game set. Outside corner, strike 2 on the breaking ball, and the Generals are a strike away. Three and 1 in this ballpark are the Generals this summer. 0-2. Outside corner, called strike 3. Ball game over. Generals claim a 5th victory in a row. The best team in the TCL does it again and again and again and again. They continue to dominate opponents and win in multiple ways, whether it's blowouts, whether it's reasonably close games, whether it's walk-offs, or whether it's pitching duels like the one we saw tonight. Victoria with a 3-2 victory tonight as they defeat the Seguin River Monsters in shutout fashion, or they do non-shutout fashion, sorry, in 3-2 fashion, the final score. And a thrilling final, to say the least, as Victoria pulls off an impressive victory. I'll give you at least the final box score from what we have right now. Victoria, as of the box score stands, well, we'll give you the full box score in just a moment, with 7 hits on 3 runs, 3 runs on 7 hits and 1 error, and Victoria leaving 11 runners on base. Seguin tonight with 2 runs, And 6 hits, yes, 6 hits tonight with no errors and leaving 6 runners on base tonight. If we had to necessarily estimate who the winners and losers of this ball game are, as we now have officially gotten the final score, we should be getting the final result. Yes, we have the final result here. We should be getting the final result, at least, of who won and lost this game on the pitching side of things. I would imagine that the winning pitcher would probably be Kumar Dove, since he left the ball game with the lead in control and went 5 innings. Loss probably going to possibly Yuli Tovar, since he was on the mound for the go-ahead run that ended up costing Seguin this game. He might be getting the loss in this one, folks, but a pitcher's duel victory for Victoria, and they now improve as we now have the final score. Trent Nickerson is actually the one who wins this ball game. He claims his first win in a Generals uniform. Zach Ryan, of course, getting the save, his 5th of the summer, and Yuli Tovar getting his first loss in a Seguin Monster uniform. So, with that being said, we can now update the standings. Victoria 25-10, an impressive number to say the least this summer, as they are now 9-3 in the second half. Of course, we mentioned Brazos Valley. They are now 20-15. We'll at least show you the standings as we update them here. Seguin, or actually no, sorry, Brazos Valley, the first team to 10 victories in the second half, as they are now 10-3. An incredible start to the second half for them. Victoria's 1 win away from matching that as well, but they are very well much on the doorstep of what Brazos Valley has done, as they have now won 7 ball games in a row. An incredible stretch for Brazos Valley. But more importantly, Seguin is now 11-23. Brazos Valley, or Baton Rouge, I should say, now 17-18, as you can see on your screen, and now 5-8, I should say, in second half play. So they now sit a game and a half back of Lake Charles in the Louisiana Division, but that is where the standings sit right now. Lake Charles Acadiana yet to conclude in Southwest Louisiana. So that will do it for us here at Smokey Joe Williams Field. I want to thank everyone in the Seguin River Monsters organization for making this possible. And once again, we'll be back on the call tomorrow. 6:50 will be on the air for a 7:05 first pitch for Game 2 of the 4-game series between the Generals and River Monsters, the two teams sitting at the top and bottom of the TCL standings. But that will do it for us. For everyone who's at Smokey Joe Williams Field who makes this broadcast possible, and everyone at the Victoria Generals, I'm Max Cepeda signing off from Smokey Joe. Once again, the final score, Victoria 3, Seguin 2. Victoria, a 5th consecutive victory and a 6th in their last 7. The best team of the TCL continues to roll, and we'll look for a 6th consecutive victory tomorrow night. We'll see you then.